Please take it away.
Okay, great. I'm going to share my screen.
Great.
Oh, can you see my screen?
Yep, we do.
The audio is okay?
Audio is great too.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to present today at the CodeX sessions. My name is Abhijeet Chavan. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Urban Insight based on Los Angeles. You can find me online at Legal Aid Tech, and some of the projects I'm going to present, you can learn more about them at openadvocate.org and guideclearly.com. So today, I will be talking about technology projects that I worked on over the last 8 years for the Legal Services Corporation. LSC is an independent nonprofit established by Congress to provide financial support for civil legal aid for low-income Americans. And it works with about 134 grantees throughout the country, and it has 812 offices throughout the United States. So LSC has a grant, a technology initiative grant, which awards to grantees. They are called the LSC programs. And the projects I will present today is work that I have done for 3 LSC programs, Idaho Legal Aid Services, Legal Assistance of Western New York, and Kansas Legal Services. So that's what I'll be presenting today. And there are some other projects too. We were first approached by 12 legal services corporation programs, LSC-funded programs, back in 2008 to build an open source template to run their statewide public information websites. And these websites had self-help resources and connected those who need help with pro bono attorneys. So they wanted an open source template to run these websites. And that's how I got involved. We decided to use Drupal as the open source, as the foundation for this template. Drupal is an open source content management system. It's one of the leading content management systems today. And so this was back in 2008. We selected Drupal, and we built DLaw, Drupal for legal aid websites. It's a distribution of Drupal specifically designed for legal services websites. So anyone could download and use it for free. And these programs that I work with started using DLaw to run their statewide websites. But I realized that the community needed more than code. Many of the LSC programs did not have the technical capabilities to run their own websites. Some of them, had small staff. Some had law students, interns coming in during the summer to develop content, and they needed to be trained on some new system. So it wasn't very efficient, and the code itself would not help. So I decided that we needed to do 2 things. Number one, we created Open Advocate, which is a hosted service for running DLaw. And it's a content management platform for running public information websites. So you can learn more about it at openadvocate.org. We would take care of everything, including hosting, maintenance, updates, and provide technical support to these LSC programs. The second thing we did was we put in a lot of effort to make DLaw very, very easy to use. So you do not need training. You do not need any specialized training. No HTML required. WYSIWYG authoring interfaces, easy to use menus and control panels. And third, we started building in best practices into the platform so that these attorneys and paralegals who were updating these websites did not need to keep up to date with the latest best practices in web design and development. So we started building default features that were efficient, that were best practices, that implemented best practices. We built a management dashboard, easy to use control panels, and then a suite of tools within the platform that we thought people should be using, like a link checker, for example, to automatically check for broken links that they had on the sites that led to other resources page level user feedback, so you could see what people were looking for and whether they were happy with the information on the page, whether they understood the information on the page, or what else they were looking for. Building in things like web accessibility, the latest web accessibility standards into the platform, and so on. Over the years, we have received several TIG grants to keep improving DLaw, starting with 2009 with version 1 on Drupal 6. We have upgraded to newer versions of Drupal, implemented responsive design. In 2015, we developed a completely new architecture, new interfaces, new themes. And last year, we released version 5 with many new features. Throughout all this time, the programs that were hosted on Open Advocate did not have to do anything, no upgrades. We took care of everything for them. It's a platform that you just put your site on it, and we take care of the rest. So we've had sites on the platform for several years. Some as long as 7 years. Idaho Legal Aid Services, Kansas Legal Services, Delaware, and so on. Many sites. We even had a Virginia Judicial Court System put up its self-help website on Open Advocate, and we have new sites joining regularly. Today, we have, if you look at all the legal services related websites, I did a benchmarking study that I do every year, and we run about 10% of the sites. And there are about 16% of the other sites are running Drupal. So together, Drupal makes up the most popular content management system in legal services at 26%, and WordPress is at 22%. So overall, actually, open source powers half of the sites of the legal services websites. And some of the innovation that we brought to the platform is like back in 2012, they had a tech summit to decide what the future of legal tech should be and what we should be looking at. They brought in experts. LSE had a summit, brought in experts, and I wrote a white paper on that, which was published in the Harvard Journal of Law and Technology, on the importance of developing a mobile strategy for legal services, and to start to adopt responsive design as a way to get ready for the growth in mobile devices that would be accessing these websites. We were the first to launch a responsive design back in 2011. And since then, many of these sites have had their mobile traffic really grow very rapidly. And most websites are receiving about 50% of their traffic from mobile devices. Some have as high as 65%. And all this growth, the desktop traffic has remained the same, but the mobile growth has really skyrocketed over this last 5 years. So you can find out more about Open Advocate at openadvocate.org. Another tool that we worked on was to help legal services websites adopt plain language. And so we built Write Clearly. This is a free plain language authoring tool for website editors. It can help them refine their website content to make it more readable using plain language. It does two things. It analyzes the reading grade level of a web page, and then it also offers suggestions for improving readability. So we wanted the tool to be a natural part of the authoring process when you're creating a web content. So we had three objectives. One, it had to be really easy to install. You didn't need to have to contact IT to install this tool. It had to be really easy to use. So you don't need to read a manual or see a training video or something like that. It should be really intuitive and very convenient. So it's always there when you need it. So we built it as a browser bookmarklet. So you could install it in your browser as a bookmarklet, and then when you run it on a web page, it would contact a web service, which would analyze the page and give you back the readability analysis. So this is what it looks like. If you run it on a page, you hit the bookmarklet on your browser, and it would pop up a dialog box the browser window, and it would show you the Flesh Kincaid grade level for that page. If you had run it previously, it actually shows you a comparison with the previous one. So you can see if you're working on a page, you can see if you're improving. It also gives you a quick overall summary, and then there are markers on the page, and there are specific suggestions for each of those markers that you can walk through your page. So you can use this as you work with your content management system. So some of the features we built into this, for example, besides the readability analysis, is identifying long paragraphs and catching long sentences, catching excessive use of all caps, which happens very often. Um, Multiple instances of multiple exclamation points, excessive use of bold and italics, all suggestions for making content more readable and for using plain language. Also, identifying complex words and suggesting simpler synonyms. And we are actually keeping a list of words that people are marking as complex and developing a set of synonyms for this. So that's all built into Write Clearly, which runs off of a Bookmarklet. You can get that at openadvocate.org/writeclearly. If we have time left over, I can show you a quick demo. It's really just takes seconds. The other tool we built, I can do it at the end of my presentation.
Oh, okay, sure.
The other tool we built was Read Clearly, which is a free plain language legal glossary tool for websites. Read Clearly explains complex legal words on a website in simple plain language. So again, the architecture is very simple. It's a JavaScript code snippet that you can install on your website. And when the user loads that up in the browser, the JavaScript code snippet sends the text content of that page to a web service, which does the analysis and matches words that we have in our glossary, and it displays them with a highlight. So you can see the words that are in the glossary, and then the user can click on that word and get an explanation, a plain language explanation. So this is a drop-in replacement. You can just go in and add it to any website, and it has a prepackaged glossary in there. So it's really easy for people to add this to their website without having to develop a glossary feature or even develop the list of glossary terms. Some of the features we've built into it are multiple glossaries. You can install it site-wide, or you can install it on specific pages. You can even have a footnotes option in case you want to have it show up below the page and not as highlights within the page. We recently added more glossaries. So today we have 4 glossaries. There's a basic English legal glossary, which should serve most sites. There's an expanded plain language English legal glossary. Again, the explanations were written by a plain language contractor to specifically for making them easy to understand. And it has a lot of 1,700 terms. We also recently added a bilingual glossary. So there's English glossary, but with additional Spanish explanations, so that if you have English content and somebody's looking up an English word, they can also get a Spanish explanation if they need it. And there's also a separate Spanish glossary too of 100 terms. Just an initial one, we hope to increase the number of terms soon. And that is available for Spanish language pages. So this is optimized for Drupal and WordPress. You just add the code to a site and it automatically knows which part of the page is the main content, and it skips the navigation, the header and footer. It also tries to make the best guesses if you're using it on other content management systems, but you can use it on any content management system or static websites too. So you can get that at openadvocate.org/readclearly. So those are and it's free. So both these tools I talked about are free. Anyone can use them. They're free. A third tool that we developed was a request that I received very often from the Open Advocate website users, is that they needed a way to guide people to the right resource or answer some frequently asked questions. And they do that when somebody calls in on the phone as question and answers, and said, well, why can't we do that on the website too? So we built a new tool, and we released this actually just a little over 1 year ago, to easily create interactive questions and answers and add them to your website without writing any code. So this is what it looks like. It resembles simple text chats that everybody's used to. This one is running on Idaho Legal Aid Services, and it's a guide to landlord-tenant issues and frequently asked questions. It's a simple tree of questions and answers. As you can see, there is also a Spanish version of the guide, and because the tool itself is not language specific, so you can create guides in multiple languages. The authoring interface is very simple. It's completely visual. So you can go in and type in a question and then type in some options or answers to it and then continue to build your guide visually. You cannot publish a broken guide. It is designed so that it will only publish if it all makes sense. And as you can see, the underlying structure is actually very simple. It's deliberately limited and simple. There's a question, and every question can lead to multiple answers. Each answer can lead to either another question or an endpoint. And the endpoint can be a note, or it can be a note with a link. So you can send the user to a specific web page. So it's very simple, but this means that it's really easy for people to use. Once they log in, they just start using it. It's very intuitive. They don't need training. They don't need to understand loops or if-then statements or anything like that. No programming is involved. You just start building it manually. The other thing that I built into the system was the idea of shareability. The legal services community is very collaborative, and they share their ideas and share the work that they do and help each other out. So every guide, you click on the information icon and you can copy the guide, any guide on Guide Clearly. You can make a copy of it for yourself, and you can then customize it further, so people can share the work that they create and create more guides. So several websites have started using this, experimenting with this new interface. One site that has done a lot with this is Kansas Legal Services. So they have been using it to build several guides on divorce and guardianship and so on throughout their site. And they even have a massive guide on their homepage itself to guide people to specific resources. And they received a grant from LSC to start writing their content and structuring their content using Guide Clearly. Another site that really took me by surprise was Pine Tree Legal Assistance. They had a massive change in their, this is from Maine, the state of Maine, and they had a change in their Maine Care Section 17 eligibility. That had a lot of people calling their office for questions about whether they were eligible for Section 17 or not. So they used Guide Clearly to build this eligibility tool. It has 124 questions. It took me by surprise that someone would use it for something that big, 264 unique paths. But they're using it, and person who built this told me that it's very effective, that people find they really understand what's going on. They get a lot of their questions answered through this guide before they even call in. So this work I presented at the TIC conference, the LSC's annual conference last month, on the rise of conversational user interface and what it means for legal services. So it's online at the conference website if you want to check out my slides. So that I talked about this Guide Clearly and about general movement towards conversational user interfaces. One other project that I'm working on right now is the Idaho Pro Bono Opportunities website. This is not complete, but it's a project to connect pro bono attorneys in the state of Idaho with cases. It's under development, and I'll be presenting this at the upcoming Equal Justice Conference. If you'll be there, if I want to stop by and check it out. Finally, we received a grant last year to form a legal aid Drupal users collective for the legal services community. And the objective was to foster Drupal expertise within the community so more people could start using the tool and building new things with it. So we've been holding regular meetups and training webinars, and these are attended by attorneys as well as IT staff. And we've held trainings, and we get people from all levels of development expertise. Some are beginners, some are advanced, and we share tips and experiences. So last month, as part of this grant, actually, we held the first legal aid hackathon at the LSE TIC conference. It was the first of its kind, and we had the objective of the hackathon at the conference was to develop open source solutions to improve access to justice. We had 31 participants. Most of them were at the conference. They were conference attendees, but some participated remotely via Slack and web conferencing. And we worked on 7 projects. There was a lot of energy in the room. People were so engrossed that they worked right through lunch and their scheduled breaks to get their projects done. So I don't have time for all the projects, but I'll give you a sampling. We worked on a project to build a Google Doc add-on for Write Clearly. So this is the Write Clearly project I talked about earlier that runs on a web page. At the hackathon, we built an add-on for Google Docs that could run this Write Clearly tool inside of Google Docs. So this was actually completed at the hackathon, and we'll be releasing a production version later this month. Another team built a prototype Drupal module to communicate with a classifier service from Houston.ai. The module would send just unstructured text or say a photograph of an eviction letter to this service, and it would classify the legal problem and send back the classification of the legal problem, so people could be directed to the right resource. So that you could do this from Drupal to Houston.ai. One other project was to do exploratory data analysis of web traffic for several years on legal services websites, and then compare that with some relevant publicly available data sets to see what we could learn about patterns in, say, things like divorce rates and unemployment, and explore that with web traffic patterns. Another tool was to build a legal checkup tool. So there were a lot of several projects like this. We presented all of these projects at the end of the day to each other, and then later on to all the conference attendees. Most of these projects were proof of concept or exploratory, but the team members who will participate will probably continue working on them, and we'll document them on our website at drupal.openadvocate.org. So you can check out some of the hackathon work there. If you want to read more about these projects, you can go to urbaninsight.com/blog, and I have my blog posts on many of these projects there. And you can find me online at Legal Aid Tech. So and openadvocate.org and guideclearly.com. So that's my work over the last several years for legal services.
Great. You wanted to show a demo too?
Sure, I can. If you have time, I can show you a quick demo.
You have about 5 minutes if you want to show quickly how it works.
Okay. So here's the openadvocate.org website. You find all these tools over here. So I'll show you Write Clearly. So here's Write Clearly. So it's a bookmarklet, very easy to install. Just drag this from here and drag it to your toolbar, your bookmarks bar here, and that's it. Write Clearly is installed in your browser. It works with all major browsers. So here's a web page, and actually this one is using Guide Clearly. It's a divorce guide here. But anyway, so here's Write Clearly, and so if I click this, it will run analysis on this page and say, all right, it's got 6.49 is the grade level of this page, which is pretty good. If you get anything under 8th grade level, it's actually quite good. And then you can walk through these suggestions here. And they're marked with, this one is linked up here. So you can see that it's marked up here. And you can walk through these suggestions and see what you can do to improve this word. For example, like advisable, maybe you can try a simpler word, wise, prudent. Wise is probably a better choice. So you can try that out. So that's Write Clearly. as you can see, this page is also using a guide, read clearly, which has all the explanations. Like, for example, litigant is the word that shows up on this page, and there's an explanation about that. And here's the Spanish. They're using the Spanish, the bilingual version, so it shows you the explanation in Spanish too. So yeah, you got a demo of all the three tools: the write clearly, read clearly, and guide clearly.
Great, great.
Is there a reason why guide clearly is treated separately? No, let me just ask that question first. I noticed that on the page, the guide clearly is done separately. You access it separately, not like write clearly and read clearly and so forth. You got to go down a ways and then you get the guide clearly.
Yeah, so guide clearly actually is a separate project, and you can install it independently of the other tools. So you can build it over here, and then you can embed it on multiple pages if you like. So in this case,
right. I'm just curious why it's treated differently. Is that just an organizational issue? Is it a technical issue? Why is it not one of the four? Why isn't it the fifth one on that list?
Oh, on the website?
Yes.
Oh, so these projects are all funded by LSC.
Ah, okay, that's the answer.
And guide clearly we just built on our own.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
So Abhijeet, you seem to have really good insight into the legal aid community and sort of the technologies that legal aid groups are using.
Mm-hmm.
If you could if you had a sort of magic wand and you could, create sort of this the perfect tool for legal aid to make legal aid more efficient, because from what I understand, a lot of people who are looking for legal help still can't get it. What is it you would do, and what would you create?
Yeah, there are several projects. These are just the projects I have worked on, and the community is working on several other projects too. So there are projects that are about distributing public information. These are the ones that I've worked on. There are projects that attempt to do triage, being able to see who needs what, and to point them to the right resources, funnel them into their intake process. There's a lot of scope for automation along the way, using any learning tools to kind of figure out what's the best way to get people into specific intake paths. There are, I think this conversational user interface is an area that would probably grow quite a bit. We're seeing devices now that people are using, these voice-based assistants. We were surprised with smartphone usage. When I talked about it 5 years ago, it was still, smartphones are for people who have a lot of money, and then suddenly everybody's using smartphones, and in fact, legal services websites are ahead in terms of percentage of traffic from mobile devices compared to other types of sites. And I'm possible that the same thing might happen with voice-based access, voice assistants. So I think that's another area to look into. So there are several ways in which process can be automated to improve efficiency, and also connect it with new channels that might be emerging.
Got it. Makes sense. All right, maybe we have time for one more question, if there is one. Yeah, Bruce, go ahead.
Yeah, this is great. Have you thought about using AI or machine learning to look at how the queries propagate through these online vehicles? So if 20 people are asking the same question, only getting through, I don't know, half a dozen of the questions on a web form, to anticipate the next likely question and make sure they get to an answer?
Oh, absolutely. There is work being done on this. We're just starting out, I think, as a community. But we had a presentation last month on AI and machine learning, and Houston.ai was one of the projects. There's another work being done by Jonathan Pyle, who's actually a member of the CodeX group. And I'll be presenting with him at the SRLN conference later this month on AI. So I think we're just taking the first steps into this, but the community is definitely aware of this, and there'll be projects, I think, pretty soon that will start working on this area.
Right.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, Abhijeet. Well, thank you so much for your presentation, and please join me. Really cool
most
stuff.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you again for your time. So let's turn it over to Cherilyn now, if she can hear us.
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are. Hi.
Hello.
And
So,
where are you dialing in from?
I'm calling in from Singapore. It's like 6 a.m. right now, so sorry about the lighting.
I appreciate you getting up early for us.
Yes,
so
yes.
yeah, please. Well, it's great to have you here, and please go ahead. Tell us about
Great.
your Asia Law Network.
Okay. Firstly, a very good afternoon to all of you, and I'm really excited to see what Abhijeet has done because I think that was amazing. You've hit a nail on the head with regards to what lawyers need to do, which is to write clearly, and we're trying to solve that too. And also what users need in terms of guidance, because these are some of the things that we're looking at as well. So I'm just going to show you guys what we are doing here to solve the issues that Abhijeet has mentioned earlier. So thank you for having me here. Also, a quick shout out to Alex, the one in red.
Yeah, he's right there. He's right there. Hey, Cherilyn.
Hello. Okay. So I'm the founder of AsiaLawNetwork.com, a marketplace platform that allows people. I'm going to share my screen 1 minute. Can you see it?
Yeah. It's loading. Yeah. There it is. Perfect.
Okay. Great. I'm going to turn off my video. Yep. Okay. So what we've built so far is a marketplace that allows people to get lawyers easily in Asia. And since we can share screens, I'm going to do demos along the way. Is that okay for you?
Perfect.
Okay. So just a quick introduction. Everyone asks if I'm legally trained, and I wish I am now, seeing how important lawyers are to the people around me. But I'm not. I'm actually an accounting graduate from Singapore Management University. And I am passionate about building businesses that's tech-based, that is sustainable, and that has a social impact. So I think similar to Abhijeet, we do have some other objectives other than revenues. It's also about like how we can build in some pro bono related work into the platform. A quick shout out to my team. I think without them, ALN won't be here today. So my core team involves the second guy beside me is Ong Pi Hon. He's an ex-fighter pilot, and he's also our CTO. And also Gabriel to the right, far right, Gabriel Tay, that's our CMO. So he takes charge of all the marketing activities and content on our site. Below the 4 boxes, you see there are my board of advisors, Shashi Nathan, Professor Tan Wee Liang, Wang Yingyu, and Stephen Liu. Stephen Liu was the ex-GC for eBay for 8 years in Asia. So you can learn more about them on AsiaLawNetwork.com under the About Us section. So take a read. We've been covered in a number of press, but we've launched in 2014 in November. Right now, we have more than 1,100 over local lawyers, as in Singapore lawyers. We have more internationally, and we cover already more than 20% of practicing lawyers in Singapore. So as you can tell, we have been covered in some of the local press and the regional ones. And the latest one we have is actually by Chief Justice Menon. He spoke about the new blueprint to chart legal sectors harness of technology. That's earlier this year in January. So it was quite an impactful one because the Singapore Academy of Law later came out with a blueprint that spoke about some of the issues that the legal industry is facing and how technology can help to solve some of those issues. And I'm not sure if you know that Singapore is becoming or trying to be an international arbitration hub, and they're very serious about that goal. So in the blueprint, it talks a lot about some of the key things that law firms and in-house counsels have to do in order to up their game and be more effective and efficient in their lawyering. So for us, we come under the segment called Improving Access to Legal Services. And as you can you see here? Is it too small?
Oh, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So you can actually download this blueprint from sal.org.sg. So if you search for the legal technology vision, you should be able to download that. It's about 60 odd pages. So we are covered in a blueprint as a platform that's leading the access to legal services here in Singapore. And the blueprint had quite a big impact on the various stakeholders of the legal sector. As you can see on the right, Law Society very swiftly came up with a series of technology-related events that aim to help law firms with adopting what they call baseline technology. That includes, for example, simple CRM systems, even accounting systems online, practice management systems, and even websites like what Abhijeet mentioned earlier on about how users are going onto mobile, they're looking for information online, and it's important for lawyers to project professionalism by having a good looking or actually a discoverable website, that does not look like it's built in the 90s. It's kind of a joke within us because many of the websites that we see from the law firms, I don't think they update it very often because it's not one of their they get business more through referrals before this. So we're trying to tell them that this is changing. So I'm going to share with you what we have on our website. So I'm going to share a different screen now. Okay, so this is what we have online. This is the Asia Law Network website. So as you can see, we have 3 core products. We have a lawyer's directory. We started off with a lawyer's directory because that was something that was not too disruptive to the market. And it's basically a listing of all the lawyer profiles that we have online. And if you can see on the right, there are 2 buttons, request for code and refer this lawyer. We're trying to change consumer behavior, or rather user behavior, by taking the referral habit of people and trying to make it a lot easier to do that online. So if you do refer a lawyer, for example, the entire lawyer's profile will be sent to your friend's email. So another thing we've done is to do a request for code. What happened over the last 2 years is that lawyers' emails have been readily available online, right? On LinkedIn, on websites. And lawyers get swarmed with cold emails coming in telling them that they need legal help. And these information are typically not structured. So lawyers spend a lot of time deciphering these information. So what we've done is to structure that information that's sent into the inbox of the lawyers. And this request for quote is built such that every single lawyer can customize their requests, as in the questions they want to be answered. This can help many different kinds of lawyers. For example, if I'm a divorce lawyer, I would only want to know who are the persons involved, do they have kids, how long have they been married. But if I am a shipping lawyer, I might want to know, what are the issues? Is this a financing issue? Is this other shipping issues? So we've learned, from the lawyers that the questions they ask before meeting their clients are typically similar in the various industries, but they're different across lawyers, even in the same firm. That's why we built the request for quote form to be customizable. So let's do a search. You can search lawyers here by expertise. Very simple form. Maybe just to give a picture of like how Singapore is like right now. We have about 5.5 million in population and about 4,800 practicing lawyers. You're talking about a ratio of 1,145 population to one lawyer. That is actually a very small ratio, which means that our population is not very much served, or that's how I feel. So there's a huge gap between what is out there and what is needed to be done to allow the man on the street to find access to legal services. So as you can see on this search, we've searched for employment law, and you see a bunch of lawyers pops up on the right. And these are all lawyers in the smaller firms. Some are mid-sized firms. 82% of the law firms in Singapore are less than 5 lawyer firms. That's actually a huge number. So out of 890 law firms in Singapore, 82% of them belong to the less than 5 men. So you're talking about law firms which does not have their own HR department, they don't have their own IT department, they don't have their own marketing department. So updating websites or information on their own profiles or on their own websites currently are difficult. So that's the reason why most of the websites are not updated.
Cherilyn,
so
can
if
I
you
ask
see,
a question?
yes.
So this directory, is that all the lawyers that have signed up for your platform?
Yes.
Or is it, is it sort of like a complete list of all the lawyers in Singapore, and then they could take ownership of the profile that you created for them?
So they have to sign up to get a profile. We cannot populate the profiles for them because, yeah.
Sounds good.
So if you see, we wish that we could have like the complete list, and that's what we're working towards actually. So if you see, for example, here, Nadia Monihan, she has a very special button here called the Quick Consult button. If you click through that, you actually see, for example, the categories of the quick consults that she does. So I'm going to switch back to what a quick consult is on the other screen. So a quick consult is actually an automated call scheduling system where users choose and pay upfront for a consult with a lawyer. I think it's very similar to what you have in the US, perhaps like AVO. But a part of it, what we've done is actually localize this calling system to solve the problem of too many cold calls that are coming in. And lawyers don't know whether they're sincere, whether it's a hot lead, and whether they should be spending a lot of time on it. So let's look at a profile of a lawyer. If you can see on the page, every single lawyer actually has their personalized web URL. It's similar to what LinkedIn or Facebook has done.
Cherilyn,
We don't see your screen anymore.
I think
You
you have
don't?
to.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
oops. 1 minute, 1 minute.
Now it's back.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. So I was talking about Quick Consult as a service that we've launched. It's the first call service that we have launched in Southeast Asia. And it's an automated scheduling system where users choose and pay upfront for a consult with a lawyer. So as you can see from this slide, that every single lawyer has their own web URL that's personalized. It's similar to what your Facebook and LinkedIn has done with regards to everyone having their own, personalized page. Why we do that is because we want to kind of replace lawyers' own websites, so they can use this as their own, web profile and not have to create websites from scratch. Lawyers here, I think in this part of the world, aren't too tech savvy, I'd say. There's some very brilliant ones when it comes to tech, but most of the lawyers actually still rely a lot on like referrals, and they rely on third-party vendors to build their own websites. So every single lawyer has their own page for Quick Consult. Every single lawyer has their own web URL. What we've also built on the platform, if you can see on the back end of what a lawyer sees, is that he can switch on and off. He can switch his availability for Quick Consult on and off, which means that he's able to, that green button, the Quick Consult button that you see on the profile, disappears when he switches himself to not available. And we are also working on a pilot program with the Law Society's Pro Bono Office to have this technology be used also for pro bono calls. So Law Society actually queues in these requests to be assigned to lawyers who have made themselves available for pro bono. This is actually we're very excited about this project because it's going to free up many hours of lawyers' time, at least for those who cannot make it down to, for example, a 5-hour legal clinic in the neighborhoods. So also at the bottom, you see the categories as to which quick consults they can be available for. So very quickly, I'll show you some screenshots of how lawyers can use that in the day-to-day, emails, and how they can encourage people to switch to using the quick consult service to get a preliminary consult with the lawyers. We're trying to mimic what people do in the medical profession, in the sense that when you're sick, you go to a GP, you get an appointment within the next 1 day or 2 days. This is similar to what we're doing, except that we're doing it over the phone, over a VoIP service, and with lawyers. We've also come up with some baseline pricing, so it's easy for people to understand how they can use this, what is the cost to getting a lawyer, because at this point in time, it is difficult. It's difficult to determine from a lawyer's website how much it will cost for a normal user to get a consult. So we're very happy that this quick consult service has launched and has done really well. Here, we're quite surprised that some of the calls have come in from all the way from UK, from Switzerland, from Belgium, from Australia, from Malaysia and Sri Lanka, because they probably have business in Singapore and they need to get quick legal advice on what they should do in certain business scenarios. So that's been quite good. Another thing we built into the system is a quick code system where it allows lawyers to bill clients easily. I mean, within 5 minutes, they can pretty much bill a potential client or invoice them or quote them for services that they want to follow up on. For example, if they want to write a will, how much lawyers can just whip out their phones and send out the invoice in 5 minutes. We have also built a system which replaces a merchant device. It's only in the recent years where credit card payments are allowed for lawyers. I'm not sure if that's the same in the US.
If credit card payment is allowed for lawyers, sorry.
As in, do you pay your lawyers with credit cards? There's no restrictions on that, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, so in Singapore previously, lawyers are not allowed to receive payments via credit cards. So it was only very recent that that this became allowed. So many of the lawyers are trying to get your merchant device, the credit card merchant device for their law firms, and they typically cost a lot because of the rental fees as well as the commission that the credit card companies will take out of each payment. So we've partnered with PayPal to introduce a very low rate for the lawyers, and we've built a back-end system such that the lawyers can easily receive payments via credit cards, with credit cards actually, with a personalized page where they can also include their bank details for any TT services that has to be done. So in line with what Abhijeet was trying to do, over here we are trying to amplify a lawyer's exposure by doing feature articles with them. So we've done that quite a bit over the few months that we have, over the last few months. As you can see here, we've also run a very successful Facebook Live series for startups where we do live Q&A for lawyers. You can check that out on our Facebook page, or you can go to the link you see here, x.asialawnetwork.com/fblive. Our results were quite shocking because we didn't expect people to be that interested in legal or legal advice or legal information online, and we've managed to get like about 15,000 unique views with that series of Facebook Live. There was just 4 episodes of them. Yeah, so I mean, just to share maybe some challenges that we face here in Singapore. I think the lawyers now are facing this shift, right, where users are now comfortable with finding lawyers online versus the previous mode of like getting referrals by friends. So law firms are finding it really difficult to accept that because they lose control. Just a quick side example. Many of the lawyers here don't use LinkedIn because they don't even know if they're allowed to use LinkedIn. So a lot of them actually have to clear with, as in they clear with their law firms whether they can have their profiles on LinkedIn. So that to us is signaling that the lawyers are not sure what can or cannot be done with regards to putting themselves out there. So the challenges we're facing is we want to profile the lawyers. We want them to be found, but the law firms are having problems with how much should be out there. So we have built administrative platform specifically just for lawyers, for the law firms, to control which profiles can or cannot be shown. Many of the firms only show their partners and not the associates. So that's an example of how it is different, perhaps here in Singapore versus maybe in the US, where it's actually a normal thing to have a LinkedIn account. So another thing we're facing here is how lawyers are trying to bill more, but at the same time, technology is going to make them more efficient. So then they may not be able to bill as much as they used to. So on the user's end, there's a shift, right, with regards to just asking your friend or your relative for a referral to a lawyer that they know. And now people are totally fine with finding a lawyer online. So this whole objective legal advice part is something that's very new here, and we see that it is catching on. People are having no problems using our quick consult service, talking to a lawyer they've never spoken to before, or not through a family or a friend. The other thing that users face is the idea of FaceTime. So research has shown that, for example, if you go to a lawyer or a doctor face to face, whether or not they give you the advice that you want, the fact that they are there with you makes them feel better. So so for us, the quick consult service is totally online on the phone. So there's no FaceTime, and people are still trying to get used to that. So that's something that there's a balance that we need to strike. And maybe in time to come, we might do video conferencing, or having the option to have lawyers online. But I think for now we're still running many tests to make sure that everyone is comfortable with the products that we're introducing to the market.
So Cherilyn,
maybe
that's a question.
Hi, it's Bruce Cahan, and I appreciate you waking up real early for this. I worked in Hong Kong, so thank you for doing that. What I don't understand is you're running up against a couple of assumptions about what the law will be in Singapore. First, you're saying, on the one hand, we're not sure whether we can advertise, or there's a cultural norm not to be on LinkedIn. Whether that's because it's technophobia and lawyers are not wanting to be technologists, or whether it's because it's prohibited or a discouraged activity by the Bar Association. So I'm not sure what the practice or the legal ethics are there. Second, I do find it a little troubling that the platform is allowing the law firms, God bless, to, in effect, discriminate against the associates developing their own legal practices. And I do understand that, of course, the law firm controls its web presence, but I'm just not sure. So if an associate at a law firm is not being promoted by the law firm on its website, does the associate have the opportunity to promote their own identity as being affiliated with the law firm?
Okay, I'll take the first question first, with regards to whether it's a combination of these issues, or it is one. It's actually a combination of the fact that people don't know what they can do out there. But there are law firms who are pushing the boundaries, they're advertising, they're doing certain things, and so far the Bar Association is not saying much about them, because they're doing it in a way that is professional. So I think the key is not whether they can or cannot be out there, is where to draw the line in terms of touting, or really just putting yourself out there in a discoverable manner. So there have been many questions as to whether it's allowed, whether it's not allowed, but I think it's clear now from the blueprint that it is allowed, that you can be discovered online. So that's no longer an issue now. So with regards to the second question, in terms of law firms discriminating the associates, see, the thing is, they're already doing that, for example, on their websites, if they want to. For the more forward-thinking firms and the younger firms and the smaller firms, they don't have that issue, because they want to show all of them.
So, Cherilyn, my question is also somewhat related to attorney regulation. As a platform, I assume you're taking, a share in the fees that are charged to the clients.
No.
How does it work? How does your business model work?
Okay, so we are a SaaS platform for the lawyers. So we're building a lot of, other than the quick code and the quick consult service, we're building on many other services that are for the lawyers. So we charge an annual subscription fee for that.
Oh, it's an annual subscription fee?
Yes, it's an annual subscription fee.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And we work very closely with the relevant authorities to make sure that we're doing everything we can to not disrespect the rules that they currently have.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of new platforms are running into issues around fee splitting and that sort of thing. And I was just curious if that's an issue in Singapore too. But
Yes,
doesn't
it
seem to
is
be an
an
issue
issue.
for your business. Yeah.
Yeah, it is an issue for many of the other, I think, online platforms. But for us, because we knew this from the start, so we didn't structure our business model to be collecting a fraction of the fees that the lawyers receive.
Understood. Are most of your users, consumers or businesses?
We have a fair mix of both. So we thought at the beginning we're gonna have like a lot more individual users, as in like for personal issues. But what we've realized from the quick consult data that we've collected is that we have quite a fair mix of both SMEs as well as individuals. So about 50-50. It's quite a good mix.
Got it.
So I have a related question. How litigious are Singaporean people? To my knowledge, given the government's attitude about confrontation, they're not that litigious. So what kind of services do you imagine adding to the platform in a more transactional or mediation or other realm?
Okay, maybe also for you to understand the climate is that 50% of the requests coming in are non-English requests. So you're talking about a population that needs help drafting documents. They can't do their own. A lot of SMEs need more than just templates. They need advice as to how they can structure their businesses. So the market is not such that the requests coming in are for litigation, but they're more for preventive or rather just day-to-day legal advice.
And how much is in terms of international law? In other words, supply chain or letters of credit or any of that? Can you see that kind of traffic?
Yes, actually, we have not actively marketed outside of Singapore, but we already have about 5% of the calls coming in that are for that basis.
Got it.
So
Great.
with increased marketing, we'll see an increase in those requests.
Fantastic.
So we're already 5 minutes over our time.
Oh, sorry.
Just wanted to thank you again for joining us, for getting up so early, and I think it's very cool, your platform, and I hope you'll visit us here at Stanford at some point. Alex hopes so too.
Waiting for your come over, Cherilyn.
Sorry. Thank you, and do follow us for updates that's in this region. And another thing I want to do is to really invite anybody, any of the tech companies that you have contacts with, that if they want to collaborate or to do something with us, feel free to reach out if they want to explore this part of the world.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you again, Cherilyn.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for coming, and I'll see you all next Thursday again, same time.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.